Welcome to your Barbados Today evening news update for Friday, November the 23rd. So glad you could join us. I am Emmanuel Joseph. After a flurry of meetings, the impasse at the Grantley Adams Memorial Secondary School between vendors and school authorities is over. Today, Education Minister Santia Bradshaw visited the rural school, where she met with the key players and announced that they have reached a compromise. For well over a week, students mounted protests at the school after officials banned them from purchasing food from vendors on the outside during lunchtime. Minister Bradshaw told reporters the issue was not about vending. She says there are bigger issues which must be addressed in the interest of the nation's children.
This issue is also now about finding a balance between vendors, canteen operators, making sure that our schools are safe, that our schools are secure, that people who are engaging in entrepreneurial activity also have the opportunity to be embraced by the school. We can't have a situation where they may be competing with the canteen operators, but we have to find a balance. So if the canteen is selling a range of foods, but they're not selling rotis or pizzas, then perhaps we need to engage a conversation through the correct process, which is an application to the school board and then to the ministry for approval, where persons can apply and basically meet the requirements of the Ministry of Health and certainly the Ministry of Education to ensure that they can be accommodated on the premises.
In the meantime, long-standing vendor Miss B will be allowed to resume plying her trade on the school's compound from as early as Monday, while other vendors will have to seek permission from the Ministry of Education.
Miss B, who has been here for over 20 years, who is selling snacks, that she will be able to return onto the premises on Monday. Again, in terms of competition, we recognize that what she was selling was really not in direct competition with the canteen. And so we have made the compromise to have her return to the premises. What we have agreed to is that we will consult with her in terms of the types of snacks, because we know that she will have stock that she has to get rid of. So, but at the same time, we understand that she has been part of the school for that length of time. With respect to the other vendors, we've spoken to them as well, and we've said, give us sufficient time to get the policy right. In the meantime, they're free to apply to the board of the school to be able to start the process of looking at what types of foods they are selling, to see if it is any direct competition with the canteen operator, to see if things can be done differently.
An emotional Miss B was pleased with the outcome of today's talks.
I can express my feelings. I'm so glad that I will be inside again, so that I can really supervise these children. Because, I mean, all the years I was out here is not for money, but it's because I love them and I want to see them go in the right direction. And this is my job, this is my calling, to be with them. And no matter what happens, I know God is going to preserve my life longer, that I can be there for them. And I give God all the praise and the thanks and the honor and the glory. And He said He will never leave me nor forsake me, that He would always be with me. And I cannot express my feelings.
In other news this Friday, the Barbados government approves the construction of a tertiary sewage plant as the latest attempt to remedy the long-running South Coast sewage crisis fails. The announcement came this morning from Energy and Water Resources Minister Wilfred Abrams, who said that work to repair the breach to the force main revealed a worrying problem.
So on, I think it was Monday, we switched over the line entirely. When we did that, by testing it, we verified that the flows were not 100%. So somewhere along the line between the plant and the surge chamber, sewage was leaking. We obviously don't know whether it is leaking, at that point in time, we didn't know whether it was leaking from the patch that was put on. We didn't know whether it was leaking from another breach. And we then started to do dye testing. So I think it was on Monday night, we put fluorescent dye into the outflow from the plant. And then we had people at manholes along the line to see whether the sewage was recirculating back into the plant, which was the initial problem that we had. And yes, we determined that once again there was a cross-contamination in lines.
Minister Abrams made it clear there was no way that the Barbados Water Authority could have known there were other breaches without a pressure test. He said government is now sourcing urgent funding to construct the proposed tertiary plant.
Yesterday, the Cabinet unanimously decided that no matter what challenges we're facing as a country, the money needs to be found to immediately commence either the upgrade of the South Coast sewage plant to a tertiary level plant, or if the plant cannot be upgraded, the construction of a new plant, and this is to be completed within 18 months. The money has to be found. It is a priority for our government. The other decision that was taken was that the outflow of Graham Hall has to be started immediately. That decision was taken yesterday. I understand the excavators are going to be down there tonight or this evening to start to dig, and we're going to work around the clock, 24 hours a day. We're not giving this one-to-one contractor. Because of the volume of work and the time frames that we have to try to meet, we are using as many contractors as necessary to do the different parts of it.
Cabinet has also taken a decision to immediately start work on an outflow of 1,000 feet off Graham Hall to take the pressure off the Graham Hall swamp, which currently facilitates the flow of sewage into the now closed Worthing Beach. Gender-based violence remains a major problem in the Caribbean, and officials warn that if it is not addressed urgently, it could stymie the region's development. Chief Project Manager with the Maria Holder Memorial Trust, Jane Armstrong, today challenged governments and organizations to tackle the issue head-on. Armstrong was addressing the launch of a program on Friday, which was developed by the UN Women Multi-Country Office Caribbean with the support of the Maria Holder Memorial Trust to respond to increasing calls for the development and scaling up of gender-based violence prevention programs for young people.
I feel that unless we make some inroads into this problem in the region, I fear that Caribbean women and girls in particular will continue to be restricted in their ability to be able to reach their full potential. And if Caribbean women and girls don't reach their full potential, then the Caribbean can't reach its full potential. Gender-based violence inhibits empowerment. In some recent assessments that we carried out in Antigua, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the key concern and issue for all of those that we spoke to was the situation of our youth in all of those countries. It was the first thing that came up. And many think and feel that youth in these countries are in crisis, and it's unemployment, poverty, and violence being the main problems identified. And of course, gender-based violence is a big part of all that.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Welcome back with news from the region now. Intra-regional travel is down as Caribbean travelers opt for other destinations. Word of this from LIAT's Chief Executive Officer, Julie Reefer-Jones, who called on authorities to urgently tackle the matter.
There need to be a range of measures that would help to correct this problem and to reverse the situation.
The LIAT CEO added that there is not a lot of data on the average spending of a regional traveler.
The last study that I saw was something done in 2009, and the conclusion then was that the average spend of a regional traveler was the same or higher than the international traveler.
She noted that today's tourists want different experiences, adding that the Caribbean is a unique destination, as she questioned how much focus is placed on that uniqueness.
A lot of what we sell is what we've been selling for a long time, which is the sun and the sand component. And not that we shouldn't do that, but there are other areas that and features that we can market that would meet that need for the tourists to have a different experience.
And on the world scene, French retailers today warned after days of unrest over fuel taxes that prolonged protests could spoil the Christmas shopping season and threaten jobs. But President Emmanuel Macron is showing no signs of backing down. For a week now, protesters clad in fluorescent yellow jackets have blocked highways across France with burning barricades and convoys of slow-moving trucks, obstructing access to fuel depots, shopping centers, and some factories. Retailers report that their daily revenue fell by 35% last Saturday, the first day of the so-called Yellow Vest protests, when nearly 300,000 people took part. That brings us to the end of your evening news update, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Now you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic weekend.